Katrina's Creations. This is episode 55, and we have a lot to cover today. We are going to draw a new markers or stitch marker winner because my second person still hasn't claimed it. So it's been 2 weeks. So we're going to be doing that, but let me get through with all the administration stuff first. So first off, we have a welcome to new viewers. I have 334 people that actually have subscribed and want to watch me, which is exciting. So thank you to all of my subscribers, whether you're new subscribers or old subscribers or whatever. Thank you for joining me each week along this little knitting journey. And thanks for joining our knit group. I can be found on Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest as Katrina Knits. And I can also be found on Ravelry as Katrina's Creations, all one word. And I just started, I got a business YouTube or Yahoo mail site. So that if any of you want to ever post me pictures or chat privately to me or whatever, you can. So it is, and I will put it right down here, it is Katrina's Creations, all one word, at yahoo.com. So we do have a new segment called Show and Tell, and so some of you have posted pictures to me, and this is a good spot at the Yahoo address to send me any of your photos. Okay, so let's see, what else do I have? I have a finished object, and I am going to insert some footage of me modeling this. In all my fatitude, I'm going to model this. But anyway, I finished my sweater. Here it is. This yarn here was called Groovy. It was a Knitology yarn that came in a Knit Crate box back in August. And when I got it, I didn't know if I really liked it because it was not colors I would have chosen. But it is extremely soft. And it turned out I had this gold yarn. And it goes absolutely perfect with it. So, and it has, it's structured by garter stitches, but it has like mitered stitches that form some of the squares. And you can see that right along here. You can see the mitering that kind of forms it. And you can really see it in the back. And let me hold this up so you can see it. You can see the kind of comes to a V and then it goes straight down. So it was a lot of fun to do. It was a top-down sweater. And the buttons that are on it are Dorset buttons that I made, and I showed a tutorial last week that you can check out if you want. I did put an edging on it, and I talk about this in the little modeling segment. When I finished it, I had enough left over of the Knitology yarn that I wanted to put a kind of a more finished edge to it. So I did a little shell crochet all the way around the edges and around the bottom. The only yarn, I mean, I really did play yarn chicken with this. That's all I've got left of the gold. I started with about 4 pounds of this. It was 2 big cones full of yarn when I started. But this is a heavy worsted weight. It's a little on the scratchy side, but since it's more of an outer garment because it's very heavy, it's not really going to bother me a whole lot. And this is what I've got left of the Groovy. That was it. So this will be going into a cozy memory blanket. And this, I'm not sure, it might become a dryer ball. I've heard that you can take total wool like this and just throw it into your washer a few times and it turns into like a felted dryer ball. So that might be what this becomes. I'm not sure. I don't know. Don't know what I'm going to do with that quite yet. But that's what I have left from my finished object this week. So that was exciting. And I will insert the modeling shots right here. Here is the sweater. Oh, my shirt's pulled up. Here is the sleeves. They're just down to my wrists. Here is the back. I'll turn around real slow. And I'll move up close so you can see the Dorset buttons. And I put a little edge on these. Here's the edging here. You can see that I actually crocheted a little edging along here so it looked a little more finished. So it has a little bit of a scalloped edge to it. So this is the modular garter sweater, and it is a little tighter here than I would like it to be, but it's almost too big here. So I guess it's kind of like a swing sweater, so it's kind of opens up. Maybe that's why it just has 3 instead of buttons all the way down. But there it is. And it's very warm, so now I'm going to take it off. It was funny, a couple days ago when I finished this, well, actually I finished it yesterday, I posted a picture on Instagram, which also posts to Facebook. So if you do not get Instagram, don't worry. Whatever pictures I post on Instagram, I'm also putting and sharing on Facebook, so you get to see everything. I sat it down to take a picture of it, and when I lifted it back up, there's my brand new sweater sitting on my dirty socks. I had taken some socks off, left them on the footstool, and forgot about them, tossed my clean, brand new sweater on top of dirty, disgusting socks. I don't know what I was thinking, but oh well. Thankfully, yeah, I don't think too much stink wore off. So let me show you what I've been working on this week. First off, I actually cast on yet another project, but I happen to remember that in all my Christmas knitting that I was doing, I don't knit a whole lot for people for Christmas because my mother-in-law is really not into handmade things, and so the only people, and my husband doesn't wear sweaters. He's very warm-blooded, so are my son and my son-in-law, so I really don't do a whole lot of knitting for them, but I do always make something for my mother and for my daughter and my daughter-in-law. So I made my daughter and my daughter-in-law a banner unfurled, which is a pattern I designed. My daughter's was in pink and gray, two tones of gray and pink, and my daughter-in-law's was in a gray, a white, and a denim color. And this is the original. That's my granddaughter in the picture. One of my granddaughters. I have 2 granddaughters and 9 grandsons. So this is the oldest of all of my grandchildren. So she modeled for me, and this was the first one that was done in red, white, and blue. This is available on Ravelry, and it's a $4 pattern, but if you use the coupon code KC20, you can get 20% off, so you get it for $3.20. It's a really easy pattern, but I started realizing I bought the yarn for my mother's and hadn't made it yet, and here it is the end of November. So I pulled out the yarn that I have from my mom, and I started working on it. So here is the progress that I've made on my mother's banner unfurled. And yes, it is red and brown, which are kind of odd colors to put together until you see the color it's going with. And it's not picking up real well. Well, yeah, there you go. It has these same brown and red in it. It doesn't look like it there. Trust me, they go together well. So anyway, the banner unfurled has some eyelet lace and it has some beading and stuff on it. So that's the one I'm making for my mother. And after I bought all the yarn, because normally I kind of ask her what color she wants. This year I thought, oh, she likes to wear red, and she wears red lipstick a lot. And I was like, well, that'll go with her. She likes bright, more bolder colors. So I went and got the yarn, and then she told me, I really like that red, white, and blue one you made. I went, oh. I didn't buy red, white, and blue. The only red, white, and blue I've got in my house at this point is in wool. And all of our patriotic holidays where you would wear a red, white, and blue scarf are in the summertime. I don't think you want it in wool. The one I made that's in this picture is done in cotton. And I used all of it when I made this shawl. So anyway, I think I'll be going to the store and buying more yarn to make one for my mother, maybe for her birthday or something. But anyway, that's my progress on her Christmas present. So I've been working on that. And then I've been working on my poncho. And it's living in a bag that I made several years ago. It's just a little drawstring bag. And this is what I've got left. I didn't make a whole lot of progress this week because I ripped out a lot of what I progressed. In fact, I don't even have the stitch marker in here. I had the progress keeper. I've actually knit maybe about an inch. I've knit from about here up. I took the progress keeper out because I had knit up. I was getting ready to actually change out of this color and into the next color. And I looked down and realized I had made a mistake on one row but all the way down in here. So I ripped out all of that. So I've done a lot of ripping out lately, it seems like. Last week, it was like everything I made, I ripped out. So this week, yeah, I ripped back a bunch. So I have worked on it. It's just to get back to where I was at before I ripped it all out. So this is a poncho that is being made. It's from a pattern in the Katia paint. That's what this is Katia paint. And the pattern's a free pattern over on the Katia website. So that's what this is, and this is what the rest of, I guess I should show you what the rest of it looks like. It's a sideways poncho, so you're knitting it from the bottom up, but when you actually connect it, it goes across this way. So you work from the narrowest to the widest part. So right now it's a little over 2 feet deep, which would be like from my shoulders down. So I've been working on that. And then I have been working on my design shawl and gotten a little ways with it, not a huge amount, because I had to really think about what, I still haven't decided what pattern I'm going to go in from here. So right now I have the yarn overs, and here's my little progress keeper. It doesn't show up much in this yarn, but there it is where I left off last week. So I've knit about 1.5 inches of the lace up to here, and I'm finished with the eyelet now, so I'm going to be going into something that's a little bit more solid for the second half of this color. And this yarn is Knit Picks. It is the fingering weight from their palette series of yarn. It is 100% wool. This one is called Custard. This one is Semolina. This one is Turmeric. And this one is Brass Heather. So that's the 4 colors that I have. I had looked at putting, I showed it to you last week, I had looked at putting this yarn with it because it does have gold in it, but it's the wrong color of gold. It doesn't go with any of the gold. It looks like it goes with it, but it really doesn't go with the golds in it. So I might experiment and see, but I tend to think it's not going to go real well. It doesn't look bad with this though. This is the yarn that I said had green speckles that reminded me of mildew. There you can see it, yeah. And you can see that's about the color of gold it is. It's almost a goldenrod kind of color. So I really don't know. I might play with it and put it with this and see what happens. I can always rip it out. I'm good at ripping out apparently lately, so I could do that. So that's where I've gotten with that project. We are now, let's see. Yeah, we are now going to draw a new winner. I had the little Christmas stitch markers. I did not bring them up here to my craft room to show them to you again, but I have the little polymer clay stitch markers that I've tried to give away twice now, and the winners have never responded. So, like I said last week, your odds are getting better all the time because we had 12 people enter, and so far 2 have not claimed it. So, at this time, I'm going to pull it back up. I'm looking off to the side because I've got my computer up. And I'm going to pull up random.org. And let's see who won. It says number 6. So let me look back here. Number 6 is Juanita. So, Juanita Montgomery, if you are watching, you have won the stitch markers. So, please send me either using my new Yahoo email. You can use that, or you can private message me on YouTube, or you can send me a message in Ravelry. Any of the 3, just contact me, give me your address, and I will get those out to you as soon as I hear from you. And hopefully hopefully I can give them away to somebody before Christmas at this point. So, next we have our new segment, which is called Show and Tell. And I have 1 new picture to show you. The first one, it is Bev. She posted some pictures last week. She did the heart Afghan that looked like a quilt that was done with hearts. And she sent me a message this week and she said she finished it. Hooray! and she showed me a finished picture of it. So I am going to post that picture here. And Jocelyn also finished her Basic Stitches cowl, which is a free pattern that I have on Ravelry. You can go over and download it if you would like it. It is Basic Stitches, and there are YouTube videos that I also posted that teach you each of those stitches as you go through. So it's kind of learning new stitches and doing something with them so you have a finished product. So anyway, Jocelyn finished hers, and I like hers so much better than mine. Hers is like done in like a burnt orange kind of color, kind of a reddish, almost a brick red. It's really, really pretty. And mine is done with variegated colors. In fact, I've got it here. Here is what mine looks like. Here's what mine looks like. And I like it, but the solid colors really, really show up all the stitches. I mean, you can see them here, but hers really, really turned out pretty. Her stitches are so well defined because there's not the busyness of a pattern in it. So I'm thinking it would look really pretty in the navy blue too. But anyway, yeah, she posted a picture, but I didn't get her permission yet to post it. But if you go over to the Ravelry group, there is a thread I opened for anybody who finishes a picture. Anybody who finishes the Basic Stitches cowl and wants to post a picture over there, go for it. And she did. She posted a picture over there, and so you can actually see it. So you don't have to take my word for it. You can check it out for yourself. But it really turns out good. And so thank you for all those people who have downloaded them. Don't forget to post your pictures. I would love to see what it looks like in different colors. And now we are on to acquisitions. I've been out of my comfort zone this week. I really have. I went to Knit Night, and I was eyeballing this yarn like 2 weeks ago because the lady who owns the yarn shop, Catherine, had said, I just got some ancient fiber arts. And I went, oh, because I've heard people talk about ancient fiber arts. And so, of course, you know, it's like radar went up and the little antennas, and I'm checking it out. And there's this gorgeous, and I was drooling over it last week, or this week when I saw it. And I almost bought it, but I was like, I've got so much yarn that it has these colors in it. It was this gorgeous purpley magenta, and it had like a blueberry-ish color in it. I mean, it was gorgeous. But if you've watched this channel for any amount of time, you know that I tend to gravitate towards purples and turquoises, and yeah, those are kind of my colors. Although you wouldn't know it by things I've shown you today, because everything seems to be gold right now. I guess I'm reminiscing back to the 70s a lot lately. But anyway, purple and magenta and all those kind of colors are my thing. So I did not buy that. It was hard. I put on the willpower, and I didn't buy the purple, magenta, gorgeous blue. It might end up coming home with me yet. I don't know, but it's really, really pretty. Instead, I was looking at this other lady at Knit Night, and I said, I need to get out of my comfort zone, don't I? And she's like, yes. So, this is what I bought. This is Ancient Fiber Arts. See if I can get the glare off of it. There you go. And it is in, there, now you can see the colors really good. It is in greens, all different shades of greens, and there's some blue in there, and some lighter green. Yeah, that one's showing pretty, it's showing pretty well. The colorway is called Frolic. It is a fingering weight. It's 80% superwash fine merino, 20% nylon fingering sock weight, 385 yards or 350 millimeters, or meters, yeah, millimeters, yeah, 350 meters. So I have no idea what it's going to be. And I will tell you a little bit about, when I go buy some of these skeins of yarn, like this was $25 for a skein of yarn. But it's good quality. I mean, that's why you're paying the price. It's not like what you go buy at Walmart or anything. This is like all, it's just very, very soft. It's hand dyed. You're going to pay more for it. But if I tried to do a sweater in this, there's no way I could afford that. I would need like 4, 5 skeins, something like that, to make a sweater. I mean, I'm a big person, but even a person that's not a big person, a sweater out of these higher quality yarns could be pretty pricey at $25 a skein. So what I do is I might use this as an accent, and then I do the rest of the sweater or the rest of the shawl with yarns that have the same fiber content but are cheaper. They aren't hand dyed. They're solid colors or they're tonal colors. Just like the sweater that I made, the gold yarn was actually very, very cheap, but it was 100% wool. And I did the yoke out of the more expensive yarn. So if that's just a little tip for people. If you want to do something that's got some more expensive yarn, but you don't want to invest that much money for a sweater, because I would be like totally sick if I spent over $100 for a sweater. I don't do that, and then in my case, I notoriously spill down the front of me, you know. So I don't want to do that. So I buy one skein, or in the case of my knit crate box, I get 2 skeins, and then I will supplement it with other colors to make it work. So just a little tip. So if you want to play with more expensive yarns without it being extremely expensive. So the other yarn that I got, if you watched my knit crate unboxing for November, it was up, I put it up yesterday. There it is. I guess I should have put a spoiler alert before I did that so that you could watch the video. If you want to watch me unbox this, you could do that. But otherwise, here it is. And the colors are pretty true to color. It's very sherbety. It's pinks and peaches, and then like a goldish brown and kind of a pea green. This is kind of a pea green color. So it's really pretty. It's not something I would have bought on my own. I do like it though. So I am very happy with this box. And this one actually has silk in it, and you can tell it's even softer than this, which has the merino. There's a definite, if you put the two together, you can definitely feel, there I am fondling the yarn, but it's definitely softer. You can feel the silk that's in it. And the contents, this is called Copper Kettle, and it is a striping sport yarn. So that's kind of interesting too, because I have not dealt with striping. I've used sock yarn that stripes before, but nothing like this. So this is striping sport yarn, 70% superwash merino, 10% silk, 20% nylon, in a sport weight, 389 yards or 356 meters. So that's what I got from my knit crate box. Yeah, there's the colors are really, really good. So yeah, I think it's interesting. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet, although I do have some yarn that is pink, that is this color, that I'll have to put with it and kind of play and see what happens. So yeah, that's what I've got so far. And the next thing we're going to do is talk about our sock along that we are going to do in January. If you haven't heard about it, some of the other subscribers would like to make socks. So we decided to turn it into a knitting group type of thing. We're going to, each week, I will do a segment showing you how to do a section of the sock, and then we'll all do it together, and then the next week we'll, come and do the next section. And I will, in January, open up a Ravelry thread so we can all share pictures of our progress and chat back and forth and show what colors we're doing it in and all that kind of thing. So it just sounded like it'd be something kind of fun to all of us make socks together. So I've come up with 2 different patterns, and I'm going to let you guys vote on which one you want to do, okay? I chose 2 patterns that are both free on Ravelry. I didn't want anybody to have to pay for any of the patterns to do this. And I picked relatively simple patterns so that even if you're a more experienced knitter, it's still something you can do. And if you're a new knitter, it's not going to be too challenging. So the two patterns to choose from are the blueberry waffle sock, which I actually have one somewhere. I brought it up with me. Here it is. Okay, I made this into a slipper, so this is a little on the oversized, but you can see it has kind of a ribbing to it, and here's the ribbing, and then in between the ribbing in here, there's a little bit of a pattern. It's just like a garter stitch one row and a knit stitch, one row, purl, one row. It just does a little bit of a texture to it. And both of the socks, the other sock, let's see, the blueberry waffle sock is by Sandy Turner. So you can go over to Ravelry and check both of these patterns, okay? The one is the blueberry waffle sock, like I said, by Sandy Turner. The other one is called Basic Socks, and it is by Winwick Mum. And I'll put that information down below. If I can, I'll actually put a link down below so you can click right over to those and look at it. They both have the same type of heel. This is the heel flap and gusset. And I actually like the socks that have kind of a diagonal gusset on the side, but I wanted to do something that was relatively simple, so this is a heel flap and gusset. And these are just little shorty socks that I made. And yeah, this was actually the only self-striping yarn I've ever used. So let me know. Go over, like I said, to Ravelry and check out those two patterns and put your pick down below in the comments. And next week we will determine which one had the most votes for, and that's the sock we will be making in January. And that way it gives you all of December to get together any needles or yarn you would need to make these. So yeah, put your vote down below. And let's see, what else do I have? This week is Thanksgiving. If you are in the US, we celebrate Thanksgiving on Thursday, and I don't know what you all are doing, so I thought I would share what I'm doing. We usually go to my mom's house for Thanksgiving because my mom and dad, you've seen them on a previous video, my mom and dad live in between where my brother and I live, so they're kind of more centrally located. So my brother and his wife are doing a deep fried turkey, and I'm bringing the desserts, and let's see, the desserts and the rolls and the macaroni and cheese. And my mom's doing the vegetables. So a cooperative effort that we're doing. And then Friday, we are going over to my daughter's house, and they usually spend Thanksgiving with her in-laws. And they have family that come in from out of state, and they kind of do their Christmas time on Thanksgiving. So they're all going to be up, but Friday we all get together, their family and our family, we all kind of converge at my daughter's house, and she makes all kinds of finger foods and nibbly stuff, and we play crazy games. So that's our plan for Friday, and if I can, I'll take some footage of all the goodies, because my daughter's a really good cook, and maybe I'll take some footage of the deep fried turkey. Hopefully we don't catch anything on fire. I've seen some of those happen where the grease boils over and catches on fire, and we don't want that kind of excitement for Thanksgiving. So anyway, hopefully that won't happen. And then I also started, I started sorting out all my Christmas presents. My husband and I, like I said, we've got 11 grandchildren. Our parents are all still living. We've got, I counted, we've got 10 great nieces and nephews, because we buy for, of course, our family, but we also, our nieces and nephews have children, so we buy for our brothers. We both have brothers. We buy for our brothers' grandchildren, but we only buy like for their whole family. I don't buy individual gifts, because there's like, if I counted all of them up, there's like 15 of them. So anyway, I pulled everything out. My husband and I Christmas shop a year in advance. I know that sounds totally crazy, but with as many as we buy for, we try to do it as cheaply as possible. So we actually go out Christmas shopping for the next year, the day after Christmas. And I take a little list with me, and I write down everything I buy, and then I don't dare lose that list, or I'm up a creek. And so yesterday I pulled all of the stuff out onto the dining room table and stacked it and put everybody's names on it, so I could see if I had everybody's presents or who I needed to buy for next, if I had everything or not. It looks like Santa threw up on my dining room table. There is presents everywhere. They're not wrapped. That's the part I dread. I dread the wrapping part. But, yeah, I'll insert a picture because it's like chaotic and totally overdone. And yeah, it looks like a lot of presents, but we really don't spend all that much because we get them the day after Christmas. Everything's on sale. We usually buy them over at Ollie's, which is like a discount place, and they generally have a 15% off coupon on top of it. So we've usually, everything you see on that table, we've probably gotten for under $200. Yes, we are cheap, but frugal. We prefer frugal, but it looks like a lot, but it's a lot of little gifts that maybe didn't cost all that much. But it gives us something to unwrap. So I will insert a picture of that. And now to end, you all know that I live just outside of Gettysburg, so we were going through town today on our way up to Chambersburg. So I thought I would show you some pictures of Gettysburg. And in case you don't know too much about Gettysburg or the Civil War, especially I know there's some viewers that live outside of the country, I'll give you a real brief little rundown so you know what you're seeing. Gettysburg is a little rural farm town. I think at the time of the American Civil War, there was only 2,000 or 3,000 people lived in the town. But it was just basically a crossroads and a little farm area, and the southern and the northern armies ran into each other right there. It was a little planned for them to run into each other right there, but that's where they ran into each other. And so you are going to see the town itself. There was fighting all around the town as well as within the town itself. It took place in 1863 in July 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And so the section that we actually drove through today would have been the section from the first day of the battle. And that you'll see a Lutheran seminary. And the pictures aren't real clear because we were driving at the time and we had traffic, so we couldn't stop. But there is a cupola on top of, it's not the church steeple that you'll see, there's a cupola to the left of it, and that was where one of the generals stood up in that cupola and was able to see all the troops and kind of direct the troops from where he was at. But the first day's battle took place in the area that we drove through, and we actually drive through a little portion of the town and where the center, the square is. And this weekend is what they call Remembrance Weekend. What that is it is a commemorative date of when Abraham Lincoln read the Gettysburg Address at Evergreen Cemetery. And that's on the other end of town. We didn't go through there. I used to take my children when we would go at the end of our school year, because we homeschooled. We would go to Gettysburg and we would have a picnic over on some of the battlefield is really pretty, and there's like rocks and stuff that you can sit on, and we would go over to Devil's Den, which is a big rocky area, and the kids loved climbing on the rocks and stuff, and we'd have a little picnic. And there's a place called Little Round Top, and you can climb up. There's like a little monument that looks sort of like a castle, and you can go up into the top of that and you can see for miles around. So we always would do that every year with the kids when they would finish their school year, and we would walk through Evergreen Cemetery, which sounds like kind of a weird thing to do, but it's not your typical cemetery. It's a paved area you can walk through, and there's different trees for all the different states have planted different trees throughout the graveyard. And it's really pretty. It's very relaxing, and it's interesting. I find it interesting to read some of the markers. But, yeah, so anyway, the Gettysburg Address was done there. And so every year on the anniversary of that, there's a big celebration in town. And when we go through the square, there's one building, and I'll point it out on the video, where Lincoln actually stayed, and that's where he wrote the Gettysburg Address. And every year the town kind of, they have this big parade that goes through town that they shut down all the roads. We got stuck in it one time and sat for, I think it was a good 45 minutes. It's a really big parade with all the reenactors and all the fife and drum corps come down through town, and it's a big hoopla, and we try to avoid going through into town on the weekend that they have it because it's really kind of crazy. So anyway, that's this weekend, so we went through on Friday instead of on Saturday. But I inserted footage, so if you don't want to watch it, you could just like tune out now. But if you do want to see it, just stay tuned and I will stick it here at the end. Otherwise, I'll see you again next week. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to check out the socks and put your vote down below in the bottom. So, talk to y'all later. Bye, guys. Because that's where the Gettysburg Address is, right? Home with reading.
Enchiladas Supremes.
So, what kind of enchiladas are they?
Cheese, bean, chicken, and beef.
There it is. And there's our chips and our salsa. And I'm having La Special La Casa. It's 2 beef enchiladas or burritos with cheese sauce and Spanish rice. So, yum, yum, yum. Up here on this hill is the Lutheran Seminary, and the cupola in this building up, I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a cupola up there. That's where General Buford spied out the troops, because the southern troops actually came in from the northern end of town. They were just coming from Chambersburg, and the northern troops were in the south. This building right here is General Meade's headquarters over here. There's a dispute over which of those 2 buildings I just showed was his actual headquarters. Here's some more of the battlegrounds or battlefields. You can see them in the distance over in there, and we're going right through the center of them right now. There's a tour bus. And the first day of the battle took place in the area I just showed you, as well as in the town itself. And the Battle of Gettysburg took place while General Meade was still in charge. That was before General Grant. General Grant was still out west somewhere at that point. Tennessee. Dave's helping me out here. Here's some of the statues and monuments that are close to the road. There's some cannons. This is Remembrance Weekend. It's the anniversary of when Lincoln spoke the Gettysburg Address at Evergreen Cemetery. And so tomorrow, which is Saturday and Sunday this weekend, they're going to be having a parade and other such hoopla going on in town, which means we'll be trying to stay out of town. So we are now at the outskirts of Gettysburg. This is one of the field hospitals in Gettysburg. Should head out of town. It's another field hospital. This is the Daniel Lady Farm.